Today, we're going to break down some really timeless wisdom that comes from a sermon given on the feast day of St. Mark. It all boils down to three powerful lessons for living a life that's happy, healthy, and holy. So let's just dive right in. So, right off the bat, the whole thing kicks off with this massive question. St. Mark left his mark by writing one of the Gospels, which is incredible. But what about us? What's our legacy going to be? This question really frames everything we're about to talk about, because the way you live your life, day in and day out, is your answer. All right, let's get to our first lesson, the secret to happiness. Now, according to this teaching, real, lasting happiness, it's not found where most of us look for it. It actually comes down to one single, powerful virtue that can completely change your entire outlook on life. What's so interesting here is how this is framed. It's not just saying that pride is a bad look. It's saying that pride literally puts you in opposition to the world around you. It creates constant conflict. Humility, on the other hand, is the key that opens the door to peace and what the Source calls grace. And check this out. This breaks down the internal battle perfectly. The proud mindset is just a recipe for stress, right? Always having to be right, needing to control everything. But the humble mindset, that's where you find freedom. It's in letting go and trusting that you don't have to carry all that weight yourself. It just makes for a lighter hurt. To really bring this home, the sermon shares this fantastic story. It's such a simple, everyday thing, but it shows you exactly how pride can sneak in, disguised as some minor annoyance when it's actually the real problem. Okay, so on the surface, this sounds like any little family squabble. The mom is getting annoyed because her daughter keeps telling her how to organize the fridge. It seems so trivial, doesn't it? Just a silly argument about where things go. But we're pushed to ask a deeper question here. Was this fight really about the refrigerator? Or was there something else bubbling up just under the surface that was causing all this tension? And boom, there it is. The heart of the problem had nothing to do with the fridge. It was that the mother felt her authority, her very position as the mother, was being challenged. Her pride was stung because her own child was correcting her. So here's the big insight. A lot of the time, our anger is just a cover for something else. We think we're mad about the situation, but really, we're just reacting because our ego took a hit. Pride was poisoning that relationship, and the refrigerator was just the symptom. This quote just nails the first lesson. The argument is that real wisdom isn't about being right all the time. It's about becoming more open, more teachable. And when you find that humility, you find a lighter heart. You find happiness. Okay, let's move on to our second lesson, which builds on this idea. This one connects our inner world, our mental and spiritual state, directly to our physical health. It's about way more than just diet and exercise. So the sermon uses this really striking metaphor from the writings of St. Peter. A roaring lion, it explains, doesn't just attack anything. It stalks its prey, right? It waits for a moment of weakness, and then it strikes. This is what negative forces or thoughts do to our well-being. And these are those moments of weakness. It's when we're exhausted, totally stressed out, or when we let anger or envy take over. That's when we're at our most vulnerable. In those moments, negativity finds a way in, and it can make us spiritually and even physically sick. So what's the defense? The answer is vigilance. And this isn't about being passive. It's an active job. It's about being the guard at the gate of your own mind and heart, being aware of these toxic thoughts before they can settle in and do any damage. So here's the difference. A reactive life means you're just a puppet to every little feeling, every impulse that comes along. But a vigilant life means you understand something huge. Just because you think a thought or feel an emotion, you don't actually have to act on it. You have the power to choose a better response. And that brings us to our third and final lesson. This section completely redefines what it means to be holy. It suggests that holiness isn't some passive, quiet state of being. No, it's an active mission that you're supposed to be living out every single day. The sermon points to this super direct command from the Gospel of Mark. The core message here isn't to hide from the world and keep your beliefs to yourself. The mission is to get out there and share the values you hold, to proclaim them with how you live. And here's the kicker. Holiness isn't something that's just for one place, like a church. It's about how you treat your family, how you act at your job, even how you behave online. It's a 24/7 kind of thing. The sermon makes a really powerful point here. It says there's no shortage of people who say they believe something. What the world is really missing are people whose actions actually line up with those beliefs. The call is for authenticity, for a faith that's lived, not just talked about. And this brings the question right back to us, doesn't it? It's a challenge to really look in the mirror and ask, is the person I am on Sunday the same person I am on Monday? Is my life one consistent message, or do I change my tune depending on who's watching? So, how do we tie all this together? These three lessons, happiness, health, and holiness, they all point to one single powerful takeaway. Here's the whole framework in its simplest form. You want to be happy? Be humble. You want to be healthy? Be vigilant. And you want to be holy? Be a missionary. Live your beliefs out in the world. It's a pretty clear and powerful roadmap for life. And this brings us full circle all the way back to that first question. The mark you leave on this world isn't some big single accomplishment. It's the sum of all your daily actions. How you live your life, with humility, with vigilance, with authenticity, that becomes your ultimate message. And we'll end on this really profound thought from the sermon. For a lot of people out there, their only experience with what you believe, with your values, will be from watching you. Your life is the book they read. And that leaves us with one final powerful question to think about. What story is your life telling?